What's up guys, JP Fasone here, and today we're going to be talking about position player throwing, more specifically how to get through a season without your arm hurting. There's two factors that typically get position players' arms aching and some pain throughout the season. Either A, arm action's not very good and it's causing some stress in areas that we don't want it to, or B, we're not managing our workload correctly. And today we're going to be focusing on how to manage workload. Two factors that go into workload: the volume and the intensity of our throwing. Volume is going to be determined by the number of throws we make, and intensity is going to be determined by how hard we're trying to throw the ball. So you can think about a 100% effort pull down as your 100% intensity, and anything less than that, if we take 10% off, that would be 90% intensity. The body's soft tissues, muscles, tendons, ligaments, are going to adapt to increases in stress. This can happen either very quickly or it can happen slowly over time. You can kind of think about it like stretching a rubber band. If the rubber band's really tight and I give it a good yank, it's going to stretch out really quickly, but it also has a chance of snapping. If I slowly give it a little bit more tension every time I pull it, over time it'll stretch out the same amount, but I will lower the risk of the rubber band snapping on me because it's making that adaptation slowly over time. Same thing with the soft tissue in our arms and the rest of our body. If we give it time to adapt to stress, then we lower our risk of injury and can maintain better arm health. So how do we go about allowing our body time to adapt to the added stresses that we need to make it through an entire season? We have to go through what we call an on-ramp phase. So typically over 6 weeks, we're going to slowly increase the volume and intensity to allow our arm to adapt to the stress over time, thereby lowering our risk of injury. A typical on-ramp starts off with 2 weeks of 4 recovery days, or about 50% effort, anywhere between 30 to 80 throws, depending on how your arm feels. And we'll mix that in with 2 higher intent days, or hybrid Bs, where we do some long toss at about 60 to 70%. Then we move on to 2 weeks where we add in another hybrid B, so 3 recovery days and 3 hybrid B days, along with our off day, to increase the intensity and the volume. Our last 2 weeks, we add in a hybrid A day for one of our hybrid B days, where we're throwing at about 90% intensity, going out and doing our long toss, and then doing compression throws on the way in. This is gonna be our highest workload day, where we have a high volume and high intensity, so really increasing our overall workload for the week. Our goal for managing workload is trying to keep our average workload for the week consistent throughout the entire season. So for example, if we have 1 week where we play a bunch of games, practice, we're throwing a bunch of throws, our workload for the week, our average workload, is going to be significantly higher than it would be if it was, an off week where we didn't practice too much, didn't have a lot of games, didn't make many throws. Our workload for that week is going to be a lot lower. So our ability to balance workload week to week is going to allow us to maintain arm health throughout the entire season. Lucky for us, we have pulse sensors that can monitor the number of throws and the intensity of our throws without us having to think about it too much. This is going to allow us to get our average workload for the week and get a consistent workload week to week. It's also going to give us the ability to adjust our throwing program depending on how many throws we make. We can see all this data looking pretty easily at our pulse dash and see where our chronic and acute workload is at and what adjustments we need to make. At the end of the day, communication with your coach is going to be key. If you are having some arm pain, if we are feeling a little bit more fatigued than normal, or if the opposite is happening, our arm feels great, we feel like we can throw a little bit more, then that communication with your coach needs to happen so that you can adjust your throwing program accordingly, either increasing the volume, increasing intensity, or decreasing the volume and decreasing the intensity. Pulse is a great way to check for red flags. Maybe my workload's spiking. My arm might feel great, but my workload is pretty high. Maybe I need to take a recovery day, even though I'm feeling okay. Position players need to take care of their arms just as much as pitchers do. We are way past guys taking ibuprofen to make it through the season. If we can monitor our workload throughout the year, give our body a chance to adapt to the increases in stress by using an on-ramp program, we are going to be able to be healthier and perform better throughout the entire season. If you are a position player who needs some ibuprofen to make it through the season and make it through practice, then take a look at our position player throwing bundles. It's going to have everything you need to keep your arm healthy the entire year and keep you performing at your best. Don't forget to like and subscribe and tune in for more great videos.